The time has come. Soon, I suppose. Soon enough, guys. I believe that the move that everyone has been anticipating, I don't know, since this range started, will begin to materialize by next week. Alright, I believe it will take place next week. Thus, the current XRP versus Bitcoin pairing. It's surviving. Let's get closer. Alright, zooming in. I'm zooming in. Make it larger. Although we did pump from this area, I believe we could come down, guys, and if we just maintain this level, we'll be set to go. That would be extremely telling, I guess. What's so intriguing about the current state of the price, news, and announcements is that, as I mentioned earlier, there will be news associated with it as we approach that bottom. Therefore, it is possible for people to become bullish once more. Because what is the retail mind? Unless you're extremely bullish, which we are until the end of time, you're bearish. Ripple Paris RLC is now BitCat's new listing RLC. The USCT RLC USC deposit is currently trading as of today, May 29th. Alright, so we're excited to work with Ripple to introduce RLC to BitCat. Ethereum is now available on BitCat Spot, guys, and RLC, a fully regulated USC-backed stablecoin, was minted on the XRP ledger. These exchanges are now including our LUC. As I already mentioned, this is another indication that the collapse is imminent. I believe we only asked Ripple for one thing, and since there are XRP communities all over the world, we want our LUC to be available on practically every exchange before the collapse occurs so that people can convert some of their other cryptocurrencies to RLC. To be safeguarded, because I believe RUC will endure the impending big apocalypse. However, Ripple's institutional grade or stable coin RLCs are operational on Euler Labs as well. Lenders now have access to collateral incentives, so users can now borrow, lend, or use it. Correct? It's everywhere, then. It's spreading like wildfire on all these conversations, don't you think? As well as suppliers. That's really lovely, and it goes well with an impending bottom. However, let's discuss Jim Cramer's upcoming events today and possibly tomorrow. Yes, I'm still in a panic on the Nasdaq. Seem to be speeding up. Maybe he realizes that the shorts shouldn't be freaking out, isn't that right? What does that mean? Make a quick sale? The strange thing about this is that, well, I would like to see another low like this one for XRP. It will be marked after one more low. However, given XRP is now trading below this range in relation to Bitcoin, I don't believe that XRP will continue to fall below this range. XRP won't go over here at all, in my opinion. Not in my opinion. That's a big red X in my opinion because the XRP for SPIT comparison is suddenly holding up really well. And we're essentially at the bottom or very close to it. Guys, it's very close. Which indicates to me that by next week, the shift will most likely begin to take shape. Well, if not today, then at least. However, if I were to witness XRP decline in this manner, that would be it. We just pump now that the bottom is in, right? We'll wait and see. But once more, gentlemen, everything is looking incredibly gorgeous. The aggressive XRP move loading is now visible from crypto inside UK, correct? Additionally, we observe the formation of an inverse head and shoulder pattern, which leads to $410. It appears to be all right. That appears to be incoming, don't you think? Before the dark zone shows up, it's about $410 around that area, correct? Thus, we enjoy every high. Then again, but then pay attention to this. Given that it appears they won't descend for this liquidity below, isn't that right? Guys, there's a ton of liquidity down here. All the way here, yes, in tremendous quantities. Well, if they do pump it, which they apparently would if they do it this way, isn't that right? Guys, if they pushed it this way, there would be liquidity everywhere. I mean, they've done it previously. Isn't there liquidity everywhere? That's why they didn't return. They may do so in the future, but not just yet. Well, but one again, so people get ready. It's likely that you will purchase shortly. Indeed, this isn't financial advice, but based on the charts, it appears to be quite bottomy. Even though there have been a lot of net outflows, XRP is still holding up fairly well. We're seeing net outflows of about $20 million in the last few days, and today or yesterday it just keeps piling up. However, XRP's price is still holding steady, which indicates that people are still accumulating or, I guess you could say, simply holding strong, and we have big news coming out, guys. As I mentioned before, this is quite bullish and will either hit the bottom or be very close to it. That is really insane. According to Cointelegraph, Vivo Powers, a recently listed Nasdaq business, has announced a treasury strategy focusing on XRP with a $120 million private placement at $65 per share. What's going on here? Now take a look at this. Therefore, this also occurs. This isn't your typical cryptocurrency investment class, though. Being the first publicly traded firm to base its treasury entirely on XRP, it signifies a significant change in institutional sentiment. Alright, so this also indicates a significant institutional wager on XRP's D5 potential, isn't it? Thus, it appears that I am unsure. However, I have no idea where this came from. Hey guys, does that say Saudi Arabia? We'll see. Well, there you have it. Saudi Arabia has entered the picture. Alright? Now, this approach entails selling off legacy activities and accumulating XRP by developing on the XRP ledger. Well, have a look at this. Since XRP is anticipated to be one of the 5 assets that the NIS government will amass, this is the first publicly traded company in the world to introduce an XRP-focused digital asset treasury strategy. It also contributes to the development of the XRP ledger ecosystem for actual decentralized finance blockchain solutions. Wow, this is incredible work that is also toward the bottom. Correct. They will allocate funds to purchase and hold XRP, which is equivalent to opening a new channel or gateway that allows money to enter the market and purchase XRP without any problems. Isn't that right? Additionally, they will be hoarding it, which will reduce the pressure to sell compared to developing the XRP ledger's infrastructure. More optimistic about the ecosystem overall. Separating traditional businesses to focus more on DeFi and cryptocurrency. Correct? Joining and more innovation and adoption will occur for cryptocurrency in general. We recently received royal-level endorsement, so why is this important, guys? You guys are aware that they have a lot of money over there, aren't you? Correct? This, like Bitcoin's micro approach, might lead to a surge in corporate adoption of XRP, right? When this actually occurs close to a bottom, things start to look strange. Take a moment to consider that. Strange. That's what we named that too, right? Then, according to His Royal Highness, we have been long-term holders of XRP and investors in the digital asset sector for 10 years. After evaluating several listed vehicles that aim to adopt a digital asset treasury model, we chose Vivo Power because of its strategic focus on XRP and subjective desire to help expand the XRP ledger ecosystem. Following their meeting with President Trump and his senior group during their recent trip to Saudi Arabia, they targeted XRP+. They're literally advocating right here, so they're not straying. Cross-border financial transactions are simply referred to as cross-border payments. They make it possible for people and companies in one nation to send money to a company in another. A migrant worker sending money home to relatives, an ACE company paying a supplier in Germany, or a Tokyo customer purchasing sneakers from a London e-commerce site are a few examples. Alright? How do they operate too? You just send it easily, don't you? Because it passes through numerous middlemen, it is not as quick. Alright? Which therefore requires time, isn't it? And then, folks, who knows whether it will even execute correctly and all that. However, with XRP, it only takes a few seconds, correct? Take a look at this. Yes. And after that, guys, they simply dive into the specifics of what's happening. Correct. With the industry, payment market. Enhanced liquidity and cash flow. Cross-border payments that are quicker and more dependable can greatly enhance the management of the company's financial flows. Businesses may increase liquidity, reinvest working capital more quickly into operations, payroll, or other growth projects, and cut costs when they leverage innovative technology like blockchain to shorten the time it takes for international payments to clear. Additionally, establishing a fair playing field will eliminate exorbitant expenditures, right? Quicker times for settling. We will now have transparency through cross-border payments using Ripple, which uses the blockchain and digital assets like XRP and our LUC to send and receive money quickly, reliably, and affordably. That's right, guys, we're in good hands and everything is taking place as planned. I don't know how anyone can be negative right now. You have to stay bullish and not fin whatever space is in sight. Be ready for anything, even if the bottom is set or shortly to notice.